Arizona U.S. Senator Martha McSally and Congressman Raul Grijalva introduced legislation this week on a plan to take less water from dwindling reservoirs on the Colorado River.
7 states, including Arizona, have already agreed to the drought contingency plan, also known as DCP, after months of negotiations between local, federal, and tribal leaders.
Cronkite News reporter Lillian Donahue joins us. And Lillian, can you tell us about the key role that tribes have played?
Yeah, Eliav, tribes in Arizona have really had a huge impact in this DCP and have had a great seat at this negotiation table. Tribal leaders for indigenous nations around the state said that these nations could make or break the multi-state drought plan for community members that rely on the land every day. This plan marks a turning point for their tribes to have a say in their major water decisions.
This barley field on the Gila River Indian community is sprouting.
There it is.
And it holds a sentimental history.
This piece of land right here is my mother's 10-acre piece where we first started farming when I was 4 years old.
For more than 40 years, Ramona and Terry Button have been farming traditional native foods like the tepary bean, which thrives in heat and was used by indigenous people for centuries.
And we're experts at dealing with drought.
This is 13 acres of white Sonora wheat. However, Ramona farms well over 4,000 acres here on the Gila River Indian community. It takes 20,000 acre-feet of water every year to make this dream a reality.
And that water comes from all over, locally from the San Carlos Irrigation Project to ground wells to the Colorado River hundreds of miles away.
Commingle all these water resources to keep this agricultural industry thriving here.
But experts say water in the Colorado River could drop to critically low levels after nearly 2 decades of drought in Arizona. That's why Native communities have taken center stage in planning the multi-state drought plan, which Congress must now sign off on to prevent large-scale shortages.
Without the community's participation, we don't see how DCP can be done.
Gila River Governor Ro Lewis said the community has a critical role in water preservation.
Well, we call ourselves the people of the river, the Akimo Atam. You know what, we have that generational knowledge that goes back for centuries, if not millennia.
But life-giving streams and tributaries almost ran dry for decades after settlers moved west, diverting the water during the 19th century.
We're trying to get it back to where it once was.
The Gila River Indian community regained their water rights in a 2004 settlement. It's something Ramona has waited her whole life to see.
When I was 10 years old, I attended meetings with my parents saying that they're going to bring canals. Now we see it happen, and that was back in the 50s.
10 tribes, excluding Gila River, have rights to more than 2.8 million acre-feet of water yearly from the Colorado River. That's according to a recent study by the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. But only half of that water is being used.
The data collection tools that we...
Daryl Vigil worked on the study as the co-director of Water and Tribes and says it's relatively new for local and federal lawmakers to include tribes in national water policy conversations.
That opportunity wasn't available before, but now with the conclusion of this particular DCP process and the inclusion of tribes in that dialogue, I think that sets the platform for that to happen.
But as policymakers on Capitol Hill mull over the drought contingency plan,
that's it in miniature.
It's yet another day closer to harvest for Ramona and Terry Button. Despite drought, they remain optimistic because for them, adapting to the dry Sonoran desert has become their day-to-day.
Right now, we're enjoying the opportunity and the responsibility to maintain this tradition, to utilize the resources of the community's agricultural land and its water and the people.
If water levels in Lake Mead drop below a certain level, Arizona and other states in the lower Colorado River Basin will all have to cut back on the amount of water they take from the reservoir. Lillian Donahue, Cronkite News.